Love on the pitch. Stories of women's football couples. Women's football is not only about rivalries, tactics, and unforgettable goals. Behind the stadium lights and the constant rhythm of training, travel, and competition, there are also stories of love, resilience, and companionship. Over the last decade, some of the world's most talented female footballers have chosen to share their lives both on and off the pitch with partners who understand the pressures of elite sport because they, too, are athletes. These couples have become symbols, not just of romance, but of visibility and representation, inspiring fans and challenging old stereotypes that once dominated the world of sports. In this long piece, we will dive into the stories of several high-profile couples. Each relationship has its own unique context, whether it's two stars from rival national teams, partners who also share the same club, or international romances that transcend borders. But together, they paint a bigger picture of how women's football has become one of the most progressive sporting arenas in terms of LGBTQ+ visibility. Pernille Harder and Magdalena Eriksson. Love between rivals and teammates in life. Among the most recognizable couples in women's football are Denmark's Pernille Harder and Sweden's Magdalena Eriksson. Their story has become emblematic of what it means to balance personal and professional lives at the very top of the sport. Both are world-class players. Harder is widely regarded as one of the finest attacking talents Europe has ever produced, while Eriksson is a commanding defender and leader. Their relationship, which became public years ago, has since grown into one of the sport's most celebrated partnerships. In 2024, the two announced their engagement, and the news was met with joy by fans across the world. The intrigue of their story lies partly in the fact that they represent different countries. When Denmark faces Sweden in international competition, the two are opponents on the field, but away from the stadium they return to the same home. Fans have often commented on the dramatic and romantic undertones of seeing partners on opposite sides of such high-stakes matches, only to reunite as a couple once the final whistle blows. Beyond the romance, their openness has had a significant impact on the culture of women's football. Harder and Eriksson have been featured in interviews together, taken part in campaigns as a couple, and never shied away from showing affection in public. For young players growing up in less supportive environments, their story is more than just a personal detail. It's a powerful reminder that it's possible to live authentically while excelling at the highest levels of professional sport. Their presence has also nudged sponsors, clubs, and the wider football industry to embrace greater inclusivity. By existing openly and unapologetically, they make it harder for institutions to ignore diversity and representation. Kerr and Kristie. Mewis. Love, visibility, and family. Another couple whose story has captivated fans is that of Australia's Kerr and the United States' Kristie. Mewis. Kerr, one of the most prolific strikers in modern football, and Kristie Mewis, a skillful midfielder, confirmed their relationship publicly and became engaged in 2023. In 2025, the couple took a new step by welcoming their first child. A moment that was celebrated not just by fans but also by fellow players and the media. What makes their journey particularly important is the way it highlights the intersection between professional football and family life. Their engagement and the birth of their child sparked widespread conversations about maternity rights in football. How should clubs support players who want to become parents? What protections should exist for contracts, salaries, and sponsorships? Kerr and Mewis, by simply living their truth, have brought these questions into mainstream discussion. It is worth noting that the women's game has historically lagged behind in providing robust maternity protections. But as more players, including high-profile ones like Kerr and Mewis, embrace parenthood, pressure mounts on governing bodies to adapt. Their story, therefore, is not just about love. It's about pushing the sport forward in areas that were once neglected. Fans also admire the natural way Kerr and Mewis share their lives on social media. Not oversharing, but not hiding either. Their relationship feels authentic, and that authenticity has allowed supporters from around the globe to connect with them on a deeper level. Nathalie, Björn and Aurora. Galli, a love story across borders. Sweden's Nathalie Björn and Italy's Aurora Galli represent another kind of romance. The international partnership between two players who have had to navigate busy schedules, different leagues, and national team duties. Their relationship became known to the public when both began posting together, and speaking about their bond openly. What makes their story resonate is the cross-cultural element. Relationships that bridge nationalities often highlight the global nature of football, where players are constantly moving between clubs and countries. For Björn and Galli, this has meant coordinating careers in different domestic leagues while also committing to their respective national teams. The demands of professional football can test even the strongest relationships, but the couple's visibility and mutual support demonstrate how love can thrive despite geographical and professional obstacles. For fans, their romance has also broadened horizons. Supporters who may have initially followed only one of them, perhaps a Swedish fan of Björn or an Italian admirer of Galli, often end up following both careers, creating transnational communities of support. In this sense, their relationship does more than enrich their personal lives. It helps grow the women's game by connecting audiences across borders. Lisa Boattin and Linda Sembrant, teammates turned life partners. Lisa Boattin and Linda Sembrant offer yet another variation of the theme. Teammates who became partners off the pitch. Boattin, an Italian international, and Sembrant, a veteran Swedish defender, played together at Juventus, and it was within the environment of their club that their relationship blossomed. Couples who share the same team face unique challenges. They see each other constantly, during training sessions, on flights, in hotels, and on the field itself. Balancing the personal with the professional requires maturity and clear boundaries. But for Boattin and Sembrant, it seems to have strengthened their bond, allowing them to experience both careers and daily life side by side. The openness of their relationship has also had ripple effects within the club and among fans. Supporters embraced the couple warmly, and the Juventus environment became an example of how a professional team can respect and support players' private lives. Their story also underlines an important truth. When clubs foster safe, inclusive environments, players feel freer to bring their whole selves to the game, which in turn benefits performance and morale. Boattin and Sembrant remind us that visibility is not only about the grand narratives of international stars, but also about day-to-day acceptance within professional spaces. Vivianne Miedema and Beth Mead, two stars under one spotlight. Vivianne Miedema of the Netherlands and England's Beth Mead are two of the biggest names in women's football, and together they form one of the sport's most talked-about couples. Miedema, a record-breaking striker, and Mead, a creative and explosive winger, both play for Arsenal and have had careers filled with goals, trophies, and individual accolades. Their relationship, once confirmed publicly, drew intense media attention, partly because of the star power both women carry. To have two footballers of such stature, both pivotal for their clubs and countries, in a relationship was bound to generate headlines. Yet, what has been remarkable is the respect with which most outlets have treated them, acknowledging not only their personal bond, but also their professional achievements. Miedema has long been an outspoken figure in the women's game, previously in a relationship with fellow player Lisa Evans, which also drew public attention. Mead, meanwhile, became a household name during England's triumph at Euro 2022. Together, they represent the convergence of talent, visibility, and influence. Their relationship has also sparked important conversations about how media frames female athletes. In the past, same-sex relationships in football were often treated as tabloid fodder. But with couples like Miedema and Mead, the narrative has shifted. Coverage now tends to focus on their impact as role models, the way they support each other through injuries and tournaments, and the broader significance of LGBTQ+ visibility in sport. Shared themes, challenges, and the power of representation. Looking across these 5 couples, several themes emerge that highlight both the challenges and the progress within women's football. First, there is the gradual journey from privacy to visibility. Most of these relationships did not begin with public announcements, but slowly became known through social media posts, interviews, and appearances. The fact that players now feel more comfortable letting fans into their personal lives is a sign of changing attitudes within the sport. Second, there are the logistical challenges. Professional football is demanding: constant travel, international duty, and the ever-present risk of injury. Couples like Björn and Galli, who play in different leagues, must navigate long-distance relationships. Others, like Boattin and Sembrant, balance the intensity of being both teammates and partners. Third, Parenthood is emerging as a central theme. Kerr and Mewis's journey into motherhood has highlighted the need for better maternity policies, showing that the football world must adapt to the realities of players who want both a career and a family. Most importantly, these stories underline the impact of representation. When players of the stature of Harder, Eriksson, Kerr, Mewis, Miedema, and Mead live openly, they become role models not only for LGBTQ+ fans, but for anyone who values authenticity and courage. They normalize diversity in spaces that were once hostile and create new opportunities for conversations about equality and inclusion. They are proof that women's football has become one of the most inclusive and progressive spaces in global sport. Their relationships show us that love and career are not mutually exclusive, and that visibility can coexist with excellence at the highest level. As women's football continues to grow, with rising audiences, bigger sponsorships, and greater cultural impact, these couples remind us of something essential. The game is not just about winning trophies, but also about the human connections that make the journey meaningful. In a world where many still face discrimination, seeing love thrive on the biggest stage of all is both powerful and hopeful.